Okay, so here is your spread. I drew from my Oracle deck. I also drew one card from my Sacred Circle Tarot deck. This represents you. This is you right now, okay? And then this is divine lessons that I asked for you. And while I was shuffling the cards, I got a bonus card that flew out. So I added in this one as well. So I'll talk about that as well. So first of all, we have the Page of Swords, which when I drew it was actually in reverse. The Page of Swords talks about encountering first impulses and like the beginning of independent thinking and not accepting the ideas of others. The Page of Swords, the illustration is that of a young person. They're beginning a journey. They appear as a young person, but they're sharp, they're analytical, they've got the curiosity of a young person, but they get bored and they want to move on to the next mystery. So you've got that aspect with it being upwards, but since I drew it and it was upside down, you have the reversal meaning, which means that depending on what the rest of your reading says, and this is what I'm really getting from this card, is that the Page of Swords reversed indicates ill health and unforeseen events that will cause changes to your plans. It's kind of a warning for you to be aware of people who are deceitful, who are not what they seem, who are two-faced, who are only letting you see an aspect of them and are actually using you. So this card is telling you that you're not looking at people for who they are. You're reaching out for anyone that you can possibly find. And this card is really warning you to really take a step back and take account for what your needs are. If someone is actually at the right vibrational frequency with you, are they going to be good for you in your life, not the other way around? You need to be looking out for you. Another aspect of this card, though, I really want you to see is that you've got this flying crow here. And crows are messengers. There's hope in this card. You really need to start looking between the lines, if that makes sense. Start looking at the symbols, the synchronicities in your life. What's the pattern? What do you keep repeating? What's not working? So once again, that this is you right now. This is where you're at. So keep that in mind. So moving on to the Oracle deck. I chose this Oracle deck because it's a very compassionate deck. It's very tender. It's going to give you messages that will help to soothe your soul, but will also give you guidance. So the first card that I drew for you was Revolution. This is what you're going through right now. It's about transformation, a radical change. You need to give up the old to make way for the new. And that kind of goes back to the Page of Swords. You need to cut ties with, with the things that you've been doing in the past. You need to stop doing the things that keep hurting you over and over and over again. And this card right here is just further reiterating that. It's telling you that you need to make way to burn away everything that does not serve you. And right now, this card might seem like impossible. Like, how do I do that? Where do I even begin? And that's okay. what this card and what this spread that I did for you is just for you to start thinking about what you need to be doing. So moving on to the second card in the Oracle deck, it's the Cauldron. The Cauldron is a very emotional card to pull. It's water-based, because Cauldron, it holds water, and water is the element associated with emotion. It's talking about mastery of spiritual renewal, discerning wisdom. So basically, like, from this card, it wants you to take that huge leap. It wants you to make that radical change. And in doing that, you'll find that inner transformation. You'll find that inner emotional change, if that makes sense. You really need, and I think this card is really telling you that the way you're going to do that is by further looking into your spirituality, not necessarily just your witchcraft, but that's definitely a part of it. It's looking at your soul, like who you are inside. And I know that you suffer from multiple personality disorder, but all of those aspects of yourself, they're all part of the same whole. So what I think this card is wanting you to say is gather all of those things together in this emotional bowl. Gather it all together and master the art of finding the patterns within yourself. Find that singular thing that links them all together, and discern from there why all these problems are arising from your emotions and in your life. Then we move on to the third card. This is called Before Completion. This is a good card to pull. It sounds scary. You see, we've got a figure here. He's walking across an icy lake, and it's beginning to crack. This card is talking about your uncertainty. You're feeling a lot of doubt. You're feeling hesitant in making the changes that you need to make in your life. It's also talking about like a loss of faith in yourself. But if this figure were to just stop and stand still, he would surely fall through the ice. You have to keep going. My messengers are telling me that you're kind of walking across this ice, and you're doubting yourself. You're doubting your self-worth. You're doubting your self-power, your ability to navigate difficult situations. And this card is telling you, be cautious, but you gotta make it across that lake. You can do it. You can, because it's that uncertainty that's going to cause you to fall through the lake in the first place. You've got to make that leap. You've got to make that transformation. You've got to look inside yourself and find the courage and make it across. And the messengers are sending you this card because they know you can do it. It's going to take time. Because if you've ever walked across a frozen lake, you don't run, you would slip and fall. You do it slowly, you do it with patience, but you do it. You do it. So this card is reminding you to do that. So now moving on to this extra card that literally just like flew out of the deck as I was shuffling. So I felt intuitively that this card was really meant for you to hear. This is called the Attraction of Opposites. It's about seduction, temptation. I think this card is a warning telling you to not fall back on old habits. Don't fall into the seduction of what you know and have known. You need to go back to this card. You need the revolution. You need to make changes. And this card is the anti-hero to this card. if that makes sense. This card is telling you to really just make sure that you're not falling back on compromising yourself, basically. Don't couple with people who don't serve you. Don't couple yourself with ideas or habits that you know have gotten you in trouble in the past. So yeah, basically this spread is just telling you that you have it within you to make it out of this situation. But the biggest thing, the hugest thing for you right now is you're going to need that revolution. You're going to need to make that huge transformation. And this transformation card is a fire element card. I've gotten this card several times in my past before. The way that I talk about it is that it's kind of like how whenever there's a forest fire, it's dramatic, you know, the whole forest gets burned down. But in the wake of that, new life can grow, new saplings can grow, and old diseased trees and you know, old rotten things, they all get burned away, and it's a chance for new beginnings. So this card is speaking to me. This card is for you. And yeah, I asked you for a color that came into your mind, and red is associated with fire. You really need to look into that transformation side of yourself. Yeah, and the way that you'll do that is through discerning wisdom within yourself. The cauldron is held close to the chest, close to the heart. Look inside yourself, find your inner alchemy, find your inner magic, and master it, and use it for yourself. I really hope this was helpful. If you have any questions or, you know, if it was unclear or anything, just let me know, and I'll explain further. I hope this helps.